my name is Yaron, and I'd like to start off with a story. So, February this year, Mobile World Congress. A lot of big exhibitors, a lot of action going on, a lot of innovation, excitement, hundreds of thousands of people just walking around. You know what I'll take from that show? That I was robbed on the subway. So that actually happened. Someone just put their hand inside my pocket and took my cell phone. So about a week later, you know, I had everything on that cell phone. I had my pictures of my family and my playlists and all of the records from Temple Run that I spent hours and hours achieving. And about a week later, I was sitting on the bus, and just so you understand, this bus doesn't have any Wi-Fi, so it's just my basic carrier traffic, which is orange. And suddenly I see an ad for orange. Right, so for those of you who don't get it, that's a pretty big mishap for orange. I mean, you don't want to target users that have already bought your product or your service. That doesn't make any sense. So, you know, to sum up the story, or the moral, I would say, first of all, keep your hands inside your pockets when you're visiting Barcelona. Secondly, back up your phone. And third, I would say, have a good, efficient mobile media buying strategy. All right, in this seminar, I'm going to try and teach you how to master mobile media buying. And right, let's get started. So, as I introduced myself, my name is Yaron, and I work at Matomi Media Group. So basically, we're a global media performance company, and we were founded about 6 or 7 years ago, back in 2007. We do display, we do video, we do virtual currency, social search, and we do mobile. So I actually started my journey about 3 years ago in the group, managing web accounts such as Google, Samsung, Coca-Cola, direct response, finance, gambling accounts. And about a year and a half ago, my clients started asking about shifting their budgets into mobile. So that actually lit up a light bulb and made me think about the huge potential in this mobile market. All right, and the first things I noticed are the little differences. So let's start to think about what's so different about web and mobile. I mean, it's kind of like walking on common grounds in an unfamiliar territory. All right, you think about it like renting a car in a foreign country. So you know how to drive, right? But the driving habits are a bit different. The street signs, the traffic signs, everything's a bit different. And the secret is to know how to take these differences and use them into your advantage. So let's think together what's so different about mobile than web. First of all, data. It is a jungle out there, all right? It's a crazy ecosystem, super fragmented, with tons and tons of data. All right, first of all, we're talking about several dimensions of marketing. All right, while web has the traditional 2 dimensions, when you're talking about, first of all, is placement, right? When you're talking about your sites, if it's above the fold or below the fold, you have your keyword, you have the demographic, right? And the second dimension is the creative. So you have your banner, your landing page, your keyword, your text, right? And when we're talking about mobile, so we have this new whole layer of dimensions, which are the mobile variables, right? So we're talking about carrier, operating system, manufacturer, device, in-app traffic as opposed to mobile web traffic, 3G traffic as opposed to Wi-Fi traffic. It's crazy, right? And you guys need to know how to allocate your budgets in a smart and efficient way. This obviously gives us a lot more space for testing budgets, a lot more requirements, all right? We have more data, we need to collect that data. We need high-end measurement tools. what we also need is a good sense of BI, looking at a specific carrier and a specific geo, and saying, okay, what's the market share of that carrier in geo? How much percentage of Wi-Fi do we have? All right, and another thing is the new funnel strategies. We're talking about a whole new user flow, a whole new user experience and journey. So on the supply side, it's more about bringing new and exciting ad formats like push notifications, SMS marketing, app promotion, app walls, and on the demand side, on the advertiser side, you see a lot of new modifications to the user journey. All right, you see your click to call, your click to SMS, click to photo, calendar, all of those things. All right, and of course, the notorious cost per installation, as you all know, by CPI. What else is different? Tracking is different. We're tracking in a almost cookie-free environment, okay, where we do not track cookies for Safari or for in-app traffic, and that kind of leads us to passing new, unique parameters. All right, so your Apple IDFA or the MAC address or your Android ID, IMEI, all of those parameters need to be passed on the click ID according to advertisers' requirements. Okay, a good advertiser will place multiple optimization pixels on their flow. All right, so if we're talking about an app, so basically it can be after the installation, it can be after completing a tutorial or a specific level, or it can be only after in-app purchase, and thus they will assess the user value and the quality of the end users. User behavior is different. We all know that in 2015, about 99% of the population will have a mobile phone. We also know that from all of you sitting right here, you guys look at your mobile phone about 150 times a day on average. Okay, which is crazy. We also know that most of you have it within a 2-meter radius 24/7. So what that causes is, for mobile devices like smartphones and tablets, you have a lot of short sessions. Why? Because users, what are they doing? They're either killing time by playing apps or consuming some kind of content, or they're looking for immediate information, something that they can get right away, right? Like a bus schedule. There's no gray area here. Okay, when we're talking about tablets, so basically their use is only for entertainment, and whether it's on-stream videos or gaming content. And when we're talking about desktop, it's a completely different user behavior, a completely different environment. We have one big long session instead of short sessions, which is doing actual work, getting actual work done. All right, so we've talked about the differences between web and mobile. Now let's cut to the chase. All right, we're talking about planning, having a good and solid media buying strategy. So the first thing, the first and foremost, the most important thing would be communication. So when even looking at an offer, what you want to do is you want to check the campaign objective. What is the advertiser's objective? What is he looking for? Is it scale? Are you looking for a specific number of users? Is it a branding campaign? Are you looking for volumes? Is it long-term, like an ad burst, or is it ongoing? Okay, is the sole purpose, the sole objective, purchasing in-app content? Is it generating leads? Or any other KPIs that advertiser can have? All of these will define what is a good user, right? Is it a user who submitted their score into Facebook? Is it a user who completed level 10? Is it a user who deposited more than $1,000 in in-app purchases? That's something that you need to find out. You need to communicate. You need to find out who your target audience is. Okay? And this is going beyond age and gender. All right? This is looking at personality, at social status, at academic status. All right, we had a campaign for Smart Trike. Smart Trike is a tricycle made for infants. All right, and they were looking to target children's apps like coloring books or fictional cartoon characters. And we said, hey guys, you have to stop what you're doing because you're not targeting the right people. Who is your target audience? Who are your decision makers? Who has the money in the family? Is it the children? It's not the children, it's the parents. All right? So we completely changed their entire media plan. We said, hey, you should be targeting baby sites and apps. You should be targeting children's, infant blogs, equipment for babies, newlywed sites, things like that, right? So we communicated. Next part is to evaluate the offer. So first of all, let's talk about mobile compatibility. We need to make sure that the offer that we have is compatible to mobile. How can we do that? Either by running it through an actual device or using a mobile phone emulator. You want to see that it loads properly. You want to see that you can navigate in an easy way. You want to see that the call to action is right there. It's dominant. Okay. And when we evaluate an offer, we're also looking for high conversion rates, so we have more data. We talked about this data issue. Basically, adding different stages in the funnel, in the user journey, can add up into more conversions. More conversions will add up to more data, hence better optimization and scaling up your campaigns. All right, I can give you two examples for this. Gambling and Forex clients. So they have the basic flow, the three-step flow, where you have to submit some kind of fund registration, then you enter, that's one, then you enter your credit card details, that's two, and then you deposit actual money, that's three. So a good advertiser will actually place pixels on all of these stages and send us the reporting accordingly, so we can optimize in a better way. Another example for this is finance. We had a finance offer that went for like $100 CPA. And in this finance offer, the user had to fill in a lot of unnecessary and very, very difficult questions in a three-page flow. I took a look at it, I was overwhelmed. Things like attach 2 previous employers' recommendations via PDF or something like that in order to get a short-term loan. That doesn't make sense. We narrowed it down to just a one-page, 3-step flow, like enter your name, email, and social security number or something like that. And we narrowed the CPA down to $1.50. That actually boosted the amount of conversions, the conversion rate, and at the end of the day, we could scale up and optimize. And thirdly, the standard banners, which take up most of the mobile ad space, are an outdated way of getting to your user. If you don't know that by now, then we have a problem. Keep your eye out on new and exciting ad formats like full-page interstitials, like dialogue ads, like app walls, HTML5, video ads. All right, all of these have found to have higher engagement rates and better quality users and prevent accidental clicks. All right, let's recap. We talked about the differences between web and mobile. We talked about planning and communicating with the advertiser and evaluating your offer. Now you guys all know this crazy Lumascape. You've seen it a million times. Some of you saw it for web, some of you are just seeing it for the first time for mobile. It is literally a jungle out there. You have your ad networks, you have your DSPs, you have your SSPs. You have your ad exchanges. And all of these, you need to find the right traffic source for you. So, choosing the right traffic source is like asking you, what did you have for lunch today? All right, I need a volunteer. Yes, sir, what did you have for lunch today? A sandwich. All right, what did you have a sandwich? And why did you have that sandwich?
Didn't have the time to eat anything else.
There you go, he didn't have the time. So this gentleman ate a sandwich because he didn't have the time. Same thing for your mobile media buying strategies. All right, when choosing a traffic source, you need to take into consideration variables like availability. Okay, who's the other person on the other side of the counter? How long is the queue? What are my funds? All of those. All right, think about it. When choosing what to eat in Dmexco, it's a closed food court. But in mobile media buying, it's an open marketplace. And what you need to do, you need to navigate in this crazy Luma chart and find the right traffic source for you. So I'm going to try to give you a few tips on how to choose that traffic source. First of all is relationship, guys. This is probably one of the most important things I'm going to say in this seminar. All right? Relationship is key. And this is beyond technical availability. We're talking about a good, solid, based relationship with your traffic source. All right? Every other week, you want to have a phone call to see what's new, what ad types are new, what geos are performing better from them. Remember, it doesn't matter how much you think you know the traffic source that you're working with, they know it much better. They know all of the little glitches and the little loopholes and what they can do or not do in order to scale up your campaign. Secondly, you want to have total control. We're talking about 24/7 hands-on your campaigns. So this means having a fully self-served platform that you can navigate and you can set a campaign to on and off. Think about it. Either it's you guys or the agencies or advertisers that you're working with, they need to shut a campaign off. Or they have ad bursts, and that's only for a specific time frame. You want to have access to that. Okay? You want to be able to set things up. You want to be able to adjust the bids accordingly. And finally, you want to be able to upload creatives, refresh creatives. Okay, so again, to scale up your campaign. You know this guy. So he said, don't let them fool you. Be skeptical of traffic sources who tell you that high CPC rates guarantee high performance. I cannot be more clear about this. These do not guarantee performance. Sometimes you can find great performance for low prices, and vice versa. What you want to do is you want to have your tiered buys. All right, you're looking to target as low as you can for like 1 cent. Then you have the mid-tier, and then you have the high tier. And you want to compare between these tiers. Now think about it. Think about the logic behind this, all right? When you have a traffic source that has low tech, then you want the media allocation is not really up to you. It's up to them, up to their so-called algorithms. So you want to take the matters into your own hands. Unsold inventory and remnant traffic is always a good option to explore. Remember that for some markets, and we'll talk about it just in a bit, you can get great volumes for very, very low prices. Starting from half a cent, you can get access to a lot of unsold inventory. I actually have a great example for you guys. We had a dating campaign, all right? And it was pretty hard for us to scale it up and to make it work. So we kind of created our own banner. And we put that banner in gaming apps. But we bought only the 10th view of the user and above by buying the unsold traffic. Now this banner said, and remember, the user is seeing this banner after 10 or 15 views while playing a game. The banner said, Tired of playing with yourself? Click here to find true love. All right, and that actually raised somewhat of a giggle on the end user's face, and that's what we were after. And we actually saw it convert, and we had good ROIs for it because it was unsold inventory. Now let's talk a little about targeting. All right, so when choosing the traffic sources, you have to make sure what your targeting abilities are. Let's talk a little about going beyond the technical abilities that a traffic source might have, which are a definite must, like budgets and flight dates and operating systems and carriers, etc. So let's talk a little about transparency. There are 3 levels of transparency. 1, you got zero transparency. You're buying completely blind traffic. You have no access, no categories, no channels, nothing. All right, 2, and I'm going to the other end, all right, the other extreme end. You have full transparency. You know exactly which placement and which app you're buying, or which site. And then you have the middle. The middle is passing publisher IDs, or site IDs, or app IDs, through the click ID. All right, this will enable you guys to take a look and see what your top performing pub IDs are, create whitelists and blacklists, and optimize accordingly. And send these to your traffic sources. Remember, they can do things on their backend, they can do things on their backend that you cannot. Secondly, demographic. So, again, this is going beyond age and gender, all right? But remember, we're talking about ROI-driven performance campaigns. So we had an app for learning how to drive. And by targeting, or when targeting users from the ages of 15 to 18, we were able to get the highest ROI from this campaign. And that's just plain common sense and logic. There's no going sideways here. Location-based targeting or hyper-local targeting is super strong these days. Today you have the ability to target a specific user around the globe on the meter. All right, we had an online gambling campaign that wanted to target a specific group of people in a horse race. This was back in March. And what we did is we targeted that stadium. So from leg to leg, these users were actually notified by push notifications about the product or service that we were the gambling service that we were trying to promote. Okay, so this is a great example of location-based. Retargeting is huge and growing, all right? Today, you guys have the abilities to retarget anybody who viewed, clicked, or converted on a specific product or service with complementary products. All right, this is huge to scale up your campaigns. And finally, contextual. You might be looking for your sports audience. All right, rather than going the traditional way and finding your sports sites, what you can do is target content, like targeting a news site, but only the sports column. Okay, which can also find good, high-quality users for your campaigns. All right, emerging markets. Guys, this is huge. Emerging markets such as Africa, Middle East, Asia Pacific. All right, all of these have huge amounts of untapped inventory. Why? Let's think about it in a logical way. In these countries, mobile phones are the main gateway, the main platform to accessing the internet. That means that they're hands-on, their mobile phones 24/7, and you can get traffic in these markets for rock bottom prices. Definitely an opportunity you want to check out. Right, so we chose our traffic source. We took into consideration all of the different variables and parameters that we're after, and we want to set up our campaign. Let's talk a little about segmentation, because this is huge and can make a huge difference when opening a campaign. 3G and Wi-Fi traffic tend to perform in a completely different state. Now, why is this? This is because for 3G, you have your prepaid packages or data packages that you don't want to consume by downloading a large app. So, when we see an application, when we evaluate an offer, and we see an app that's larger than 50 megabytes, we would target it only to Wi-Fi. So we make sure that the user isn't consuming his whole data package, and these are not clicks that go to waste. Secondly, when we're talking about in-app traffic versus mobile web, so these also tend to perform differently. We talked about user behavior. We talked about the users in-app are looking to pass time, looking to play games. All right, and users on mobile web looking to browse, look for information. All right, so it's a completely different landscape. You want to make sure you segment your buys accordingly. Third, so carriers and manufacturers are a definite thing you want to check up when setting up a campaign. So take Mexico, for example. Telcel carrier in Mexico. Does anyone have an idea what the market share is? All right. Thanks for the response. It's about 80%. So you have 80% of the traffic goes to Telcel. So what you want to do, you want to segment that so that won't cannibalize your other carriers when you target. Same goes for manufacturers. Samsung is huge in the US. And when you open the campaign for all manufacturers and all handsets, what you end up is buying 80% Samsung traffic. And you don't want to do that. Okay? So be wary. Operating systems and handsets are also something that must be segmented. We just found out a few days ago that we opened a campaign for different operating systems, and we found out that Windows Phone is huge. I'm not sure if you guys comprehend that, but when being asked to target only smartphones, do not exclude Windows Phone and go for the traditional Android and iOS. Do not. Okay? Feature phones. About 50% of the population has feature phones today. That's an older demo. Has more patience, has more time, will convert better. You do not want to exclude any of that. But when targeting iOS, you guys need to look at the offer and make sure that it's iPad compliant. And if not, you want to exclude iPad traffic, and regardless, you want to exclude iPod traffic. All right, these will not convert for you in an iOS environment. Oh, sorry, another one back out. A/B testing is a must. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but when setting up a campaign, what you want to do is you want to open several landing pages and test them in parallel. You want to test a lot of creatives that you have. You want to test text ads and banner ads. And find the best working combination for you. All right, when I say combination, I mean the combo of landing page and creative. This doesn't have to be necessarily in sync. All right, you'll be very surprised to see the working and performing combinations for you. All right, optimization, this is my favorite part. Talking a little about the secret sauce, or what makes optimization the most important thing in gathering your mobile media buying strategies. All right, so when talking about optimization, first of all, let's talk about self-optimization algorithms. Just hear me out. Some traffic sources, some partners out there have functionalities where you can set up a CPA or CPI goal for a specific placement, And once that placement surpasses that goal without converting, it will get shut down automatically, which is great. Saves you a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money. The other side is doing everything manually, which is also great if you have the time and resources for it. But you want to make sure that you're collecting the data and optimizing as much as you can. First rule of optimizing is dive deep. Get as deep and as granular as you can get. Use the PCCD rule, right? Publisher, creative, carrier, device. Optimizing in that order for these 4 parameters will give you probably the highest ROI that you can get. Okay? What you want to be sure is that you're not killing volumes. A common mistake in optimizing is over-optimizing. You want to make sure that you don't limit your traffic to 5,000 impressions a day because no one cares about that. So you want to make sure you're not optimizing too much. You're not over-optimizing. Branching out. So what you want to do is you want to search for those gems, those top converting placements. It can be operating systems, it can be devices, it can be publishers, it can be combinations. And you don't want to exclude them from your buys, but rather branch out and open them individually. Same thing goes for the weeds. All right, what you want to do is you find those traffic consumers, those margin nibblers that take up a lot of volume but do not convert. You want to do this after maybe 3 to 5 days after setting your campaigns live. I can give you a great example. So we had a campaign in the US and we set the targeting to pass us back the information about which state works the best, performs best. So what we saw is a group of states that converted better than others. And we tried to find a common ground, a common denominator for these states. So we looked it up and we actually found out that they had the lowest average income per capita. And these states were converting best for us. So we branched out. We opened only these states in a specific campaign, but did not exclude them from our current buys. So we increased or we enlarged the pie. So this is a great example for finding that combination. Using our proprietary tracking and optimization tool called Mobit, which is free by the way, and I can give you more information later, we were able to find the best combination available for a games campaign that we opened in Argentina, where we found out that a specific carrier with a specific district or city, in this case Buenos Aires, yielded a much higher ROI for our buys, almost twice as much. All right? So that's about finding the combinations and branching out. Refreshing creatives is big, okay? This might seem a bit ordinary in your world, but this is huge. Refreshing creatives, getting new sets of creatives, adding new ad types and ad formats, everything that you can get from the advertiser will increase your ROI in a very surprising and outstanding manner. Definitely something that's worth a shot. We had a campaign in Canada. Anybody here from Canada? Right, there we go. So we had a campaign in Canada that had English banners. And it was, I would say it was converting about 50-50. So then one of our media buyers came up with an idea to open French banners. Because as you might know, Canada consists of about 25 to 30% French speakers. So we opened French banners and we targeted only to Quebec. that actually scaled up the entire performance for that campaign, and later we kept only the French activity going, rather than closing the campaign. So there you go, we gotta refresh our creatives. And finally, knowing when to let go. So, after setting up your campaign, if you do not see a 20% return on your investment, then know when to let go. Move on. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your efforts. Okay? If you spend $100 and you only saw $20 in revenues, forget about it. If not, go ahead. Optimize. Scale up. You'll get, using these tips, you'll get the ROI that you're after. Okay, so hopefully these tips and tactics that I gave you today will be able to help you maximize your ROI and get those ROI-driven performance results that you're after. All right, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions that you might have about mobile media buying, mobile in general, our group, everything that you want. Nice. All right, great.
Hey, you want?
Hello. Great presentation. I really appreciated it. I'm curious to know, since it's such a new world right now for trying to measure the effectiveness of a mobile campaign, is there anything crystallizing in terms of what clients are asking for, in terms of how they want to measure it? Is it a cost per action? You said cost per installation. I mean, because some people are using mobile for branding, some using it for a call to action to try and close a sale. Is there anything kind of crystallizing, or is it all still experimentation time in terms even of what they want as the final outcome that they're measuring?
Right, great question. Thanks a lot. So it is a new world, it's a new ecosystem, it's a new environment, and definitely advertisers are working on gathering their strategies in how to measure the user value or the lifetime value for a user. So I would say that the best thing today would be to look a little outside the ordinary box of lead generations and email submits and app installs. So I talked about this, and the best thing to do would actually be to cover different stages of the flow. If you have an app that you're looking to promote, or a service, or a product, it doesn't have to be app installation, then you want to find this user after he or she gets one stage of your flow done. All right, so it could be e-commerce or anything. And then you can use your traffic sources to optimize and get rid of the ones that are bringing you a very high CPA at that level. But since you have multi-stages of the funnel, you can keep the ones that are converting into real money users for your product. Okay, so it's at the end very similar to web, but it's definitely growing and super exciting. Okay, so that's what you want to focus on. Multi-optimization pixels. Yeah.
Anyone else?
All right, great guys, so we're all set. I hope you learned a thing or two. My name is Yaron Bartal, and you can catch us at booth D54. You can also contact us at our Facebook or Twitter pages, and contact me personally if you have any inquiries. I'll be happy to help and explore business opportunities with you guys. All right, so thanks a lot. Joseph? Right. Cheers, thanks. We do have a few brochures for you to take on your way out. These were, just because we don't want to carry them all the way back home, we're happy to help yourselves. And have a great day, and have a great expo.